Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Generation. This time we're going to meet queer activist Erdeneburen who goes by Gonto. Apart from their full-time job at the LGBT Centre Mongolia, Gonto works as a photographer. On this cool fall morning, Gonto greets us on their way to the bus stop.
Hi everyone, I'm Erdeneburen. People call me Gonto. Thank you MNB World for inviting me to the Generation series. I work as a legal program manager at the LGBT Centre of Mongolia. Today I am planning to introduce my work and my hobbies and what I do with my spare time. So let's go with me to my office first.
Gonto, as usual, is going to work by bus this morning. Gonto identifies as bisexual and is an active member of Mongolia's queer community. Gonto started volunteering at the LGBT Centre in 2014 and has been working full-time as the centre's legal program manager since 2019. Did you know? The LGBT Centre Mongolia, founded in 2007, is the country's only organization dedicated to upholding the human rights of Mongolia's LGBTQI+ community. LGBTQI+ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, and plus, which refers to additional sexual identities such as pansexuality, asexuality, and omnisexuality. It is important to refer to a queer person with the correct pronoun to demonstrate respect for their gender identity. It's not always possible to tell what someone's pronouns are just by looking at them, so one of the easiest ways to respectively address someone is to ask for and appropriately use their pronouns. As for our guest, Gonto uses the pronouns they, them, and their. Stay with us to learn more about this young individual living their best life in Ulaanbaatar. Gonto, could you tell us what your daily work as a legal program manager is like?
The purpose of the legal program is to create new legal framework at the social level and also to improve existing legal framework and to strengthen the capacity of the institution to protect LGBT people and their human rights. Also, the program aims to document human rights violations and provide legal advice and assistance to the LGBTQI community in cases of discrimination and hate crime.
Why did you start volunteering at LGBT Centre Mongolia?
I started volunteering at the center 2014. I remember first time I come to the center, I felt warmed, and even though I knew nobody there, they seemed so close and familiar to me. In that time, I mostly worked on graphic design, photography, videography works during Equality and Pride Days. Since then, I have dreamed about working here full-time as a LGBTQI human rights activist.
What have you learned while working at the LGBT Centre?
I think I learned a lot about how advocacy and activism are really long-term work to bring changes, especially in legal framework. I also learned that we have to take good care of our mental and physical health to be strong and consistent to work in the LGBTQI human rights movement.
As the legal program manager, Gonto works on a number of cases of discrimination and hate crimes. Mongolia's first law on hate crimes and discrimination was adopted thanks to the hard work and efforts of human rights activists.
It is historical that discrimination was identified as a crime in criminal law 2015. The implementation of the law was in July 2017. I don't think that the law enforcement officers had enough information or knowledge about hate crimes, discrimination, and also sexual orientation, gender identity at then and also even now. We have to continue to train law enforcement officers to identify hate crimes and discrimination. The implementation of the article is important for everyone, not just the LGBTQI people in Mongolia. Every kind of discrimination would decrease if the article of law was implemented well.
The LGBT Centre has been active since 2007. The organization's executive team is made up of 4 people. The centre welcomes the participation of volunteers who are willing to dedicate their time and efforts to the centre at any time. Let's ask Executive Director Ingmar Ingbold about Gonto.
So I've known Gonto for about 4 or 5 years, and on the executive team they've been for 2 years, and Gonto is a passionate human rights activist, LGBTQI+ activist, incredible photographer. Gonto is such a pleasure having in the LGBT Centre's executive team.
What are the main activities of the LGBT Centre Mongolia?
The LGBT Centre has 3 core programs: youth program, health program, and legal program. Through these 3 core programs, we protect and safeguard the social, political, cultural, and economical rights of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer people in Mongolia.
Here at the LGBT Centre, we talked to Gonto's colleague Kenna, the former youth program manager, and the current health program manager, and asked them about their first impressions of Gonto.
We've been both volunteers for the LGBT Centre, and she used to photograph me a lot, and I had a art studio, and I've painted her, and it was like artistic friendship. And then it turned like more activist, and we've been talking a lot of LGBTQI community and planning how to participate in the movement.
Could you tell us what major difficulties the LGBTQI+ community faces in Mongolia?
There are a lot of difficulties to live in Mongolia as LGBTQI human. Personally, the most difficult thing was my family. I have a big secret for who I am, and my mom knows me, but she couldn't accept me at all, and things went awkward for 2 years, but now it turns better. But coming out is the most difficult struggle for all LGBTQI human.
Well, this is the end of Gonto's workday, and we're heading to their event place to take photos. As a photographer, Gonto mainly takes aesthetic nude photos. Gonto uploads the photos they've taken on their Instagram page. However, many of their photos are unpublished upon the client's request. Gonto, tell us what you most like about taking nude photos.
I started taking my self-portraits and also nude photos to feel more comfortable in my own skin, I think. Sometimes clothing is a bit of a distraction from what I'm trying to tell through my photos.
What do you focus on in order to take a really good photo?
Most of the time I ask to shoot my clients in their living space. I think people are most beautiful when they're in their comfort zone.
Gonto started taking photos at 15 when their mom gave them a camera as a graduation present. Gonto fell in love with photography because it gave them the opportunity to document every important moment in their life, which is very important to them. After a long day, it's finally time to head home. Many people have a favorite way to relax after a long, stressful day. For Gonto, that's painting. Look at these beautiful oil paintings.
I paint just to relax, so this is my draft for my next painting. So now I just had to add a few colors, I think. Most of my works are replicas of my favorite paintings. I think it's so relaxing to just sit and paint with no particular image in mind, and I think it's a great way to organize my thoughts and relax after a long day. I did this work for Ida Hotbe exhibition, 2017. I think this piece is called Deep in the Sky. It's two fish in the sky. So as a queer person, I felt like I didn't belong in this universe, so this is kind of what it represents about it.
Apart from their work taking photos and painting, another thing Gonto does well is sewing pants for toddlers and children.
I started sewing kids' pants when I became university student to make pocket money. And at that time I sewed my pants and delivered them by bus to at-home moms. Now I have a full-time job. I really don't have time to do it like before.
Gonto started a small business of sewing and delivering pants for children when they were a freshman at university. Speaking of university, Gonto graduated from one of the most prestigious universities in Mongolia, the Mongolian University of Science and Technology, majoring in interior design. At home, Gonto shared more intimate details of their life with us, including their sexuality. Gonto identifies as bisexual, which is a term that refers to romantic interest or sexual attraction that is not limited to a single gender.
I think in deep down I always knew, but due to lack of information at that time and also my previous religion, I couldn't accept who I am as a bisexual person. Actually, that took me quite a lot of time to accept who I am.
Gonto is 21 when they fully accepted who they were and decided to come out to their friends and family.
I decided to tell my close friends when I was 21. And then I started dating my girlfriend and we started to live together. So I had to tell my mom. I was most nervous when I tell my mom that about my sexuality. Thankfully, she accepted me who I was.
Gonto told us the best things that happened to them after accepting themselves and coming out as bisexual are their job and career as a human rights activist focused on queer issues and their loving relationship with their girlfriend. Thank you, Gonto, for talking about your life. Could you tell us what you hope to achieve in the future?
In the future, I want to be better professional to protect LGBTQI human rights, and also an artist with a strong voice who can make people think about LGBTQI rights.
What advice would you like to give to the younger generation?
I would like to tell younger queer people that you are not alone and also things will get better. Also, take your time to know yourself.
Well, this is where this episode of Generation ends. Sometimes, maybe most of the time, we feel the pressure to act a certain way and to be a certain way in order to be included and accepted in society. However, today we've learned from our guest Gonto how important is it to be true to yourself and stand up for your individuality and values.
Thank you, MNB World, for being with me one day. See you.
Thank you for being with us. We'll see you again in another 2 weeks.